this is what we have here. This is what we have. We have the Flufflings lore. The entire first paragraph is just to make humans feel bad. Like, that's essentially all it's there for.
We didn't do an intro, Danny.
Screw the intro. We're in this. We're in this together, and we're already in deep. But
It's already a ride or die. But if you guys don't know, that is Danny.
Yes.
And I am Lilly, aka first of the Giblins, and let's just get this over with. I'm really not in a cheery mood right now.
So, yeah, if you're new to Species in Depth, but essentially we go to different species, we explore their lore and their overall what the species is, and kind of give our thoughts on it and the facts on them. And right now, the facts seem to be that there's not really much going on with the Flufflings. They used to be called the Fluffles, something like that. And that was it. They only eat plants. That's what the leader just told me just now. So there's that, I guess. But
okay,
yeah.
but the first okay, but the first paragraph is trying to make all humans feel bad.
It basically is.
That
in a universe far, far away from our own, there's a small planet called Murkos. A planet with alien-like creatures with the ability to turn feral and humanoid whenever they please. They call themselves Flufflings. Flufflings have similar thoughts and lifestyles as human, traditions, languages, you name it. Their world also looks similar to ours, cities, jobs, everything else. Except for them. They love their environment and take care of it. Unlike us, that we pollute it, they have a nice green world, unlike us. That is the first paragraph. This is the first paragraph.
I wish we were kidding, guys. I wish we were kidding.
Oh god. Okay, so you want to read the second paragraph?
The world is mostly vegetation, water bodies, and forests, and cities aren't the biggest. They have cities, towns, villages, and rural areas. Their main city is called Redacted.
Yeah, we don't know what the city is called. I'm assuming that's like some kind of like mystery kind of thing they're trying to do or something, where it's like, oh, can you figure out what it's called? Or they probably like legit just don't have a name for it yet. I don't know, but I think that's kind of funny that that part is just redacted. Like, why wouldn't you just name it? Like, just you named the planet.
I mean, which, by the way, if for example, I have a project I'm doing with a friend of mine, and it's for those in Homestuck. It's an alternate universe called Lamina. Sorry for the small plug, Danny, but this is needed right now. But we actually have in the lore there on this planet called Lamina. Okay, you're with me, right? We actually have cities, names in this lore. So please, if you're going to write stories and you're going to have a main city or whatever, please give it a name.
Yeah, the thing is, like, the main city, I get, like, oh, you don't want to name every single city or whatever like that, but the main city, like, you should name that. You shouldn't just have that, like, redacted or whatever. I mean, I can give them the benefit of the doubt and say, oh, they have a name, they just haven't released the name yet for whatever reason, but it doesn't look that way just by looking at it.
Alright, where most of the Flufflings live there and make up their own life. In that city, there's a group of Flufflings that make sure everything goes smoothly, as they take care of everyone like if they were their own. Sorry, but this seems like a fourth wall break happening. That small group is the staff team. A staff team with a leader and co-leader. This is not how you write lore.
It's not how you write lore, and I've noticed this because I've seen this before by like just messing around with the wiki and like looking at wiki entries and stuff like that. A lot of like people that like write lore and everything like that, they self-insert. Now I get that, like, oh, it's the leader's, OC, it's the co-leader's OC, it's the admin's OC, staff team's OC or whatever like that. But put the OC in there. Don't put staff team or leader and co-leader, because here's the thing about that.
This is how.
But by putting a leader, co-leader, staff members, stuff like that in your lore, your personal staff and your personal co-leads are very subject to change. Literally anything can happen. So if anything does happen, what are you going to do? You have to rewrite your lore now because it's no longer as accurate.
And also another thing, before I continue reading, the people in my staff in the Giplins, though, we make sure that their Giplin, okay, actually relates to the story. Like mine first is the lead. That's the reason why she's called First. Her actual name is called Lorelei,
Mm-hmm.
not just First. Whereas one of my co-leaders, we have Blue, and then we have another one named Maladai. We don't Maladai. It's kind of we kind of switch between however we call them, but that is their character. That's not them. Their character, Maladai, is with First, aka Lorelei. They are actually a couple. We're just friends. You have to separate your character and your story of your species from the actual person.
That's 100% true. It's 100% true, especially when you word it like this, where you say that small group is the staff team with leader and co-leader. Like, that messes it up because, that can very easily change, like I said. And if it does, then you're going to have inaccurate lore at that point. Like, it's very odd to me. Like, I've seen other species do this.
And another thing before I continue reading. There's one thing else I have to say. Do not, under any circumstances, if you are going to write a story, or if you're going to write lore, or anything, please, do not mix reality with fiction. Unless you're doing, if you're referencing things of real life stuff, like physics, or plants, or creatures, or whatever, for your planet or whatnot, or your imaginary world. You can do that.
Yeah, and you
don't mix your actual person with characters and stuff like that. Don't do that.
Yeah, and don't with that, don't have it to where there's a McDonald's or something like that. Don't put real world things into this. You know what I mean? Like real world franchises and stuff like that. The Hellfires did that with their lore, talking about the Doom Eternal soundtrack and stuff like that. Different species will do this. Sometimes it'll be the most subtle thing, and it'll be okay, is that a joke or is that actually canon or whatever? Because it's it sneaks its way in there, and it's always just one thing out of the whole thing that's it's taken from a real world thing, and I just find that very odd. And I don't think it's very smart either. You can very easily just create a parody version of that if you really wanted to.
Exactly. Now I will continue. The leader's name is Jay, and the co-leader's name is Latte. The staff team acts like the government, but in this case, they're not filthy liars, not corrupt.
Not corrupt.
But
a little mistake there.
We're not here to talk about politics, are we?
See,
okay. You don't actual views of real life with fictional. Please don't do that. That's another thing. You don't mix religion. You don't mix politics.
Yeah,
you don't mix your actual feelings into your writing. You don't do that, because if you do that, that's going to be a bad story.
Not just that. It's just it doesn't even make any sense. Why even do that? Why? Legit, why do that? Why? This is just before, in the first paragraph when they talk about that they love their environment and take care of it, unlike us, that we pollute it. It's literally the same thing. And talking about how in the real world, I'm not going to say this is my political view or anything like that, but it seems like it's theirs, is that they seem to think that the government and leaders and stuff like that are all corrupt. And it seems to be their stance on that the same way it's their stance on how people treat the environment and stuff. I don't like that. I don't like that you're pushing that in there. It's almost like you're trying to push for an agenda versus try to share a story. It comes off so bad. Like, not bad in the sense that, you know, it's,
Like
yeah, it's bad.
the Hellwalkers and religion.
It's like that, but almost worse because this is like pushing it on you. It's like, it, you know what it looks like? It looks like whoever wrote this thinks they're better than everyone else. That's almost what it sounds like or seems like, because they're like, oh, I take care of the environment. Oh, we're not corrupt. You know, it kind of seems like that. Like they're like, oh, we're better because we don't do that. You know, and it also feels like they're trying to push an agenda, whereas the Hellwalkers just happen to have religion mixed in. This seems more like they're pushing that agenda onto you, and I don't like that. It makes the whole thing not sound very good. But
Your turn to read.
I'm actually gonna read something they just sent me personally. They sent me about their diet. They only eat plants. They come from a planet called Murkos. They're alien dogs, apparently. Made up. Murkos is just a planet name they made up. Okay. The heart on their face is what they see from. We also get glitched flufflings, so apparently there's like glitched flufflings somehow. I guess that kind of makes sense because they have, you know, the transformative ability and everything like that. So maybe that must be what that's about. Same thing with the flufflets and the baby flufflings. They're the same, really, just baby. But moving on to their lore and everything like that. Continuing off where Lilly left off, we have the Flufflings have all types of personalities and characteristics, making them diverse. Of course, they have Flufflets, which are the babies, the children of the species. They grow up to be called Flufflings. They're a type of Flufflings with wings. Oh, there is a type of Flufflings. I was like, why is that? I messed that up, sorry. There's a type of Flufflings with wings. Not sure where they came from, but they are there. What? That makes no sense.
If you're going,
you created it. You know where it came from.
If you have different types, just please somehow have reason, genetics, magic, or just have logic behind your story. Like the Giplins. This is a little spoiler. We're saying that the planet, okay, and all that, is what changed the genetics of Era 2. Especially if you have the magical biohazard going on of super magic of the Seraphim Giplin going through because of the war. Which is what changed, and the planet, the magic and all that is what changed the Giplins, like, change their like genetics in general because of the war, because of the magic. So you have different types of genetics going to happen, different traits and everything like that. That's how you explain them. And their blood, their neon teal blood is what makes them glow.
Exactly.
There you go. There's genetic explanation as to why.
There's logic and everything in that, and that's one of the most important things of this story. I think I've said this in a different Species in Depth video. Logic is very important because no matter what kind of story you're telling, you can tell the most fantastical fantasy or whatever, but it still has to have logic to it. Like, look at Harry Potter, for example. They have this huge, fantastical, magical world where there's all kinds of magic and this and that, but there's a system in place. The magic makes sense because there's a lore behind it. There's explanations for this, and that. Everything has a reason and everything has a purpose. And it has logic behind it. It's not just, oh, magic because magic. There's logic behind each thing. It was so easy for them to just not, like, literally to fix this, all they would have had to have done is remove the not sure where they came from part. Like, because, okay, sure, there's different types. That's logical enough. I mean, there's different types of birds, there's different types of horses, there's different types of any kind of animal out there. All you had to do is be like, remove the not sure where they came from part. Because it's literally just a variant of the species. It's just like a slightly different version of it. Consider it like a breed, so to speak. It's just a different breed, essentially. A breed that has wings. That's all you had to do, is say. But moving on to the rest of the paragraph, there's one last variant of the species, the glitched flufflings, which is what they sent me privately. Not sure what the reason behind them being glitched are, but they have a face heart and a but heartbroken and incomplete, combining with their dark and dull body colors. So again, they have another variation of the species that they also don't know where they came from. Why? Like, what
I
is
don't
this?
know, but I
It's
mean,
so
it is written
incomplete.
by. It's written. I mean, it is says the lore written by yours truly, Latte, which is the
Yeah, that's
co-owner, co-leader.
the co-leader wrote this. Now I don't know if the leader sent this to this person and told them to like copy and paste it in there and make it look pretty or whatever, or if they just kind of had half the information. But if you actually look at the date on this, this was posted 4 days ago. This specific lore section here. They had the leader had 4 days to read over this and be like, oh yeah, no, hang on, let me fix this real quick. Latte, go over there and edit this, and that to fix it, because there is a reason for them being glitched. There is a reason for them to have wings and stuff like that. They easily could have went in there within 4 days and just told Latte to fix it, or even deleted what Latte said and just copy and pasted it their own and fixed it, edited it that way. So I
Yeah,
don't know. Like it's not that hard. I won't blame Latte for this, and I don't say that because I know them, but I want to blame the leader for that because the leader is the one that had to have given them this information because they're the leader. They're the
and
creator of the
this is
species.
why we say communication with your team is important.
Exactly.
Please
Communicate. Any kind of big project.
have meetings.
Yeah, have meetings
Have
even.
meetings with your team.
Like
The Giplins later on today, we're going to have a lore meet and stuff like that. And we're going to be talking about stuff for the Giplins and stuff like that. You know,
yeah. And
it's important to have communication with your team. Communication is key.
literally, if nothing else, just schedule a time for you and your team to join a voice chat and just kind of talk and have it like a private voice chat so like randoms in your server can't join in and stuff like that. If nothing else, do that and
Or
kind of just like
just set
talk.
it up,
And
or just set it up for your like team only.
yeah, that's what I mean. But yeah, it's just it's if see they're in a good position here because they have like a full team and everything like that. I don't know if the Hellfires did or not. I'm still unclear about that to be honest. But this person here, this Flufflings leader, they have a team here. They have a co-leader, they have an admin and everything like that, and a small staff team, like a small group that is the staff team. So they're in a unique position here where they can, come together, do some meetings, kind of discuss and everything like that, and create something better out of this. Because the Flufflings seem very interesting because they're sort of like a shape-shifting species that lives on a totally different planet. That's like I want to say what they're going for is like it's a utopian type planet because their government is supposedly perfect. Their planet and environment supposedly perfect. Like that seems like that's what they're going for.
Let
It's like
me
a utopian
let me
society.
tell you something. Let me tell you the downfall of a utopian society. Utopian means it's all perfect and pretty and everything like that. But there's always dark secrets to those worlds. They just don't tell you that until you actually dig deep. There's actually an anime that has a utopian world, if I can remember it. But I will tell you guys to watch it. This is Danny. Let me give them homework to do, please.
All right, what's your homework?
Hold on. I
Okay,
uh
but
yeah. You
it's
you
what
read the last one while I look it up.
okay, yeah, because what you're saying is sort of what they're doing here at this last part. This last part says, anyway, to finish, Flufflings for now. They live in peace. Or do they? I like how they did that, but not necessary. But anyway, their community sometimes gets vandalized by exiled citizens, which is obviously not good. However, the staff team tries to make the community as peaceful as possible. For now, they live happily and hope they could last forever. So there is a little bit of like I guess that's meant to be exiled citizens or whatever. So I guess there is a little bit of like some bad things going on within this like society or whatever. But to me, this reads more like, hey, we've had problems with people in our community before, and they sometimes attack our community now. And the staff team is fixing it and working around it to make it as peaceful as possible. That's literally what that reads like. It doesn't read like, oh, in their universe, these flufflings have all these issues in their society of like citizens, revolting or vandalizing and stuff. Instead, it reads like, oh, their community, like this server is just under attack sometimes. And I don't know how to feel about that. I don't like that because you're again taking the real world and shoving it into your lore, which is unnecessary. And it doesn't look good. It doesn't sound like a good story. Like it might be a good story if removed that real world side of everything, but it just looks so bad.
And I have the anime for their homework.
Okay, you found the anime?
All right. Now, here is the anime. It is called Number 6 or NO period 6. Okay? It is
Okay.
an anime about a utopian society, Japan in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, they have this huge wall around this wonderful city, but they tell them to not go out on the outside because that's where low lives are. And I
Okay.
won't spoil the anime for you guys. I want you guys to watch this anime for yourself. And I will give Danny a link so he can put it in his description. I want you guys to watch this anime to see how to write a beautiful version of a utopian society. Because that is how it is supposed to be written.
I guess to also throw in this as well. I've written about like utopian societies before. There's one that I've like rewritten like a dozen times at this point. Essentially, it's more or less quote unquote peaceful society. Every like entity that lives there is literally immortal, and they only pass on when they themselves decide to pass on. And the characters and the people in that world kind of seem like, okay, yeah, this society, this city here, because it basically all takes place in one city. They consider this city the most peaceful place in existence, and that everything is fine. But there's people within that city that know that that's not the case, because there's people in that city, that society, that are not being taken care of, that are treated differently and treated poorly, and it's essentially that's where the conflict comes into play. Is that it's not actually peaceful. It's not actually perfect. And these characters that are being oppressed, suppressed, or just not treated fairly want to be treated fairly. And they are sort of the main characters, so to speak, where they try to change it for the better. You had these people here had a unique opportunity here, especially with their team and everything like that, to like create a story very similar to that, where they have this utopian society, but that society is actually not as utopian as this one main city that's called Redacted is pushing on. Like that main city could just be like, oh yeah, everything's peaceful, everything's fine. There's no other cities out there that's against us or whatever. But then like the characters involved kind of discovered that that's not the case, and that other cities do not treat that city very nice because their city, the main city, is not treating the other societies nice. And they had a unique opportunity to do something like that, share like an interesting story, like it's about like someone somewhere inside this city trying to create peace again, because they learned that there never was peace, and that's outside their main city and outside a certain area, the environment is like deathly and deadly because it's not being taken care of, because they're just not doing anything to it. Maybe there's some magical force outside their society that is damaging the planet and is killing the planet, and their main city is just not letting the people know because they don't want them to freak out, because their main area will survive forever as long as they take care of that main area. They could have done something unique like that, but it's nothing like that. It's literally, hey, we're perfect, we're perfect, we're perfect. Our community sometimes gets vandalized by other people. And that's like the whole thing. The whole thing just says, hey, we're perfect, hey, we're perfect, hey, we're perfect. Sometimes we get attacked. Like,
all right, now here. Let me tell you guys what it says in the description of this anime that I want you guys to watch. This is how you write a utopian story. This is the only thing that you see. It introduces you to the anime that you guys are going to watch for your homework. Many years ago, after the end of a bloody world war, mankind took shelter in 6 city-states that were peaceful and perfect, at least on the surface. That that sentence right there is that is the definition of a utopian society.
It it
It seems peaceful and perfect on
on the
the
surface,
surface.
exactly, on the surface. That's the key words there, is on the surface. And that's like what I'm saying here is like they had a unique chance here to be like, oh, it seems, like they take care of their environment and that they have like a perfect government and a perfect environment and everything else, but that's on the surface. In reality, their planet is dying except in this one area. They could have done something unique like that, and they just didn't. They just said, "Hey, we're perfect. We're perfect. We're perfect." Sometimes we get attacked, and that's it. That's literally that sums up the entire lore that they have here. We're attacked. We're peaceful. We're peaceful. We're peaceful. We're attacked. Like that's the whole thing. Like I don't even know what to do anymore. Okay. Do you have anything else
But
to add
yeah,
to this?
as we said about the other species, Hellwalkers, do not put anything realistic mixed with fiction. If you do that, your story is going to end up like this, and it's going to hurt a lot of people's heads that actually love a story. Don't mix with don't mix reality with fiction. You don't do that. You don't.
Did you?
You don't.
You don't. Yeah,
That is
you're
not
100. You're
how to
100%.
write a
You're
story.
100% right. I'm laughing a little bit because I just went to the Fluffling tutorial, and it's just a doc. It's just a doc sheet that they linked.
Oh,
They
are
didn't
you
even.
serious?
Yes, look at it right now because you're still in here, right? Just
Oh dear God.
it's literally just a doc sheet. I don't want to click on it because I get like whenever I see a link and
No,
I don't know the person
no.
that gave me the link and they don't explain it, I stay away from it because it just scares me.
I,
Um,
I if you look at the Giplins, okay, I'm gonna have like Danny pull up the Giplin tutorial
yeah, I can do
of
that. I
what
can
we
do that real
have
quick.
so far.
Uh,
If you go to the how to make the Giplin tutorial, my co oh my co-leader here, Maladai, is the one that made those. We updated it so it's easier for you guys to understand. We have it right there, plain and simple, in
right here.
sight.
I remember when I saw this for the first time. I freaking love this. This is the most beautiful, like perfect way to ever show how to create a species. It's literally like one image, like basically one image. It's more than one image, but it's basically one image that says, "Hey, this is exactly how to do it. This is what you can use. This is what you can't use." Etc. 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 And it's just one image. It's all right there. Now I'm not going to sit here and
And
like tell everyone that wants to make a species that they have to go like the extra mile to do something as big as this, because this obviously takes a lot of work to put a guide sheet like this together. But if you do that, people are going to look at that and be like, "Man, this is an extremely easy species to create. I want to make more. I
I
want to make
mean,
more, and I want to
if
share this to
I
people."
mean, I mean, there's also the fact that as you go into the how to make a demented Giplin, this is how it was before. But we do have my co-owner actually fixing those up so that way it's easier for you guys to understand.
And this, I'm not saying that like this version of it's bad either, like the dimension hunting example that you have here. I'm not saying that this is bad. This is perfect. This is just fine. This is what anyone at home can do if they want to make a species. If they want to go the extra mile, do like what I showed you a second ago. But for this is pretty standard. You just show like a step-by-step thing. The Flufflings didn't even take the time to do that. I mean, I guess they probably did in their doc sheet, but why didn't they just put it right there? Like, why did I have to go to follow a link to a whole nother area, a whole nother site to find out how to make one? Why can't it just be right here? Like, why is it not just on here listed however it would be listed on the document. Is it so long and complicated that it needs a 6-page document or something like that? I don't know, but it shouldn't be. Like, you can do it pretty easily. I mean, even looking at like my Nexium species here, it's not that difficult. It's like you just do a step-by-step thing and that's it, you know. Mine's a little bit longer than it probably needs to be, but it's just a step-by-step thing, you know. It's not too complicated. If you follow it step by step, you're not going to be lost. And they didn't even do that.
The thing is, if you have a tutorial in the Discord where they can see it, people will follow it step by step much easier than going to an actual Google Doc and always having to pull it up.
Yeah, I don't understand the thought process behind them doing that. Like, I don't get it at all. It's just, that's honestly so bizarre to me. I did not expect that. I actually, like, legitimately laughed when I saw that. Like, what happened to make them change it to a doc sheet instead of just being like, oh, here it is? That is very strange to me.
Even if it's long, even if it is a long tutorial, I can go to the Buggles or whatever. They have different long tutorials for different things.
Yeah.
But they still make it to where it's visible for you to see, so you can
right
do
in the Discord.
Step by step and understand what you're doing.
So I guess the last thing really to talk about is like what the species looks like as a whole. Like what you think of what do you think of their design? I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, what do you think of their design overall?
The design is beautiful.
The design is beautiful. I love the design too. I do get like some of these simpler ones. I get a very strong Carobo vibe from it. I don't know why, but I do. That may be because it has a heart on the forehead and then like 2 antennas, so it almost seems close to a screen face, and I guess I have PTSD from all the robots I've done. But I love these. I love these.
I mean, I do love the different types of. I do love the different types of them. But the problem is your lore and the way you don't have a how to just simply right there, easy access. That is their biggest downfall for me.
It is, and honestly, even like it's almost hard to call this lore channel a lore because. Again, it just says that they're perfect, and that's it. They do give a little bit of lore here and there, talking about like what they're capable of, talking about how they can change form. It's in here somewhere. Talking about how like,
expand on that.
Yeah, expand on that for one. Like, what is the limits to that?
Expand
Can they turn into a tree?
World.
Can they turn into a car? Can they turn into and like anything that's metallic or something like that, can they turn into a machine? Or are they stuck to different creatures? Do they have to see the creature first? Do they do this? Do they do that? There should be rules behind it, right?
What is their human form like? What is their pharaoh form like? Yeah. Expand on that. Expand on the world. Expand on the cities. Expand on everything. Please. We beg of you.
It's so bizarre to me because I've had this list. I've shared you this list. It's like over 30, species long. I've had this list for a very long time. This species in particular have been on there since like the early days of Species in Depth. And in all that time, they have not like added on to this lore or like made it better than what it is right now. Now, I do know for a fact that this server itself has been raided before, and it has been attacked before. I know that because the creator told me that they've been raided, and that's why they have the whole like approval system where you have to do like the CAPTCHA and whatever else, the confirmation thing, whatever it is. That's why they have that, because they've been raided before. And I will say that that's probably why, like, for example, the lore was put on here 4 days ago. So it's still not to the point where I would have expected it to be at. Like, there's been like a year almost probably of them being able to like work on this lore, but there's not been much done to it at all. It's still so small, and it just reads so condescending almost. We're perfect. We're perfect. You're not.
And please note that we are not doing this to be mean. We are not saying these things to be mean. You guys submitted your species to us knowing, willing, and consenting to our opinions, our honest to God opinions.
That's why I put at the beginning of every single species in depth video that little disclaimer that says this is a Ponytown species that I was given permission to discuss, and that no one should be harassed or talked down to based on our opinions and the facts stated here. So that's pretty much it. I mean, like that's what species in depth is here for. We look at a species, we talk about the facts, we talk about our opinions on those facts, and we leave it at that. Sometimes we'll get a little bit off topic, and sometimes we'll talk a little bit more about their Discord server, but I think the Discord server is a very, very important and integral part of owning a species and creating a species, because there has to be a place for them to go to converse with other members of the species. There has to be a place for them to generate meetings for their species. There has to be a place for someone to know how to create this species. So a Discord server is perfect for that, and that's why it's so important that when we do these videos and we do have access to the Discord server, to kind of talk at least a tiny bit about their Discord server, because this right here, this Fluffling tutorial, I don't like that at all. I don't like that it's a separate doc sheet. I just don't like that. It's not proper to me. That just feels off, feels wrong. But yeah, we're here to share the facts of the species, share our opinions on the species, and essentially leave it at that. So do you have anything else to add before we close out, Lily?
No.
I
want to say that if we sounded mean, I am sorry, but we and myself, especially myself, I cannot speak for Danny, I am sorry, but I said what I said. And yes, I do mean that you guys have homework to do. This is how you write a utopian story.
Yeah.
I already gave Danny the link, and he can put it in the description.
Yeah,
I want you guys in Danny's server to tell me when you see this, or in the comments when you see this. Watch the anime, watch it fully, and then come back to us. Tell us that you did, and that you understand how to actually write a utopian story.
So I want to apologize too if I came off as mean. To be honest, like that's like the starting of this species in depth video was way different than normal, and that may have also made it look a little bit more aggressive. And that wasn't just us being aggressive. That was like we got this lore and this information and everything like that. We saw how small it was. We both read the first paragraph, and then we both said that, like, look, it's probably going to be best if we just jump right into it and just do it right now with like pure live reactions to each individual part of it. And I think it turned out great. I think it turned out fine with pure like reaction to each individual part of it. And that it was fun to do this. And I just want to again I'm sorry if I came off mean. I'm not being mean. I'm just I'm trying to critique this and give my opinions on it. And same for Lily. I mean, I can't speak for Lily, but we're trying to give our opinions here. So I think that's going to do it. So I do hope that you enjoyed, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and share, and do those wonderful things, because when you do those wonderful things, you get access to wonderful content such as this. But that's not all you get. That's not all you get. You also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.
Stay wonderful.